Hello and welcome to Week in Weird for the week ending July 17th, 2022. My name is GiBi, and I have COVID. Please excuse my hoarse voice. When I first started making this series, I figured I'd be telling, really weird stories, like people finding money in walls, or ghost houses, and, weird things caught on camera, and strange old dinosaurs, and I have covered some of those stories. But most of my stories have kind of devolved into, they're making an R-rated Winnie the Pooh movie, because that's funny and weird, lol. And so it's not like I want to get away from those kind of stories, I just wish I had more of the other kind of stories. Anyway, here's the poster for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Isn't that fun? Thankfully, this week we do have one of those interesting types of stories. USA Today reports, a New Jersey man was working on his driveway. He discovered a trove of money from the 1930s. Rich Gilson was only expected to work on some renovations outside of his house last Friday. Gilson and his wife Suzanne purchased a house in Wildwood, New Jersey about 4 years ago, and they have been working on additions and renovations to the home during that time. But July 8th, Gilson, a 60-year-old who works in home inspections and renovations, was able to start working on the driveway at the house in the area in front of the home's garage. So I started digging. I'm hitting concrete. I'm hitting rocks. I'm hitting glass, Gilson told USA Today. And as he was working, he found these two things, and they looked like root balls. Don't know what a root ball is, but whatever. So he picks up the two root balls, and it turns out that it's something that looks like paper that's been rolled up. So he unrolls it, and he can immediately tell that it is in fact money. Old money. So this is the root balls. That's what they look like. And he unfurled it and found the money. Gilson and his wife began pulling the cylinder apart, and it amounted to rolls of $10 and $20 bills, totaling $1,000. The dates on the bills were all the same, dating the cash back to 1934. The article points out that $1,000 back then is worth $22,000 now, which is unfortunate, but also sometimes old-timey money is worth more than, its face value, so it's probably worth more than $1,000, but almost certainly less than $22,000. They're theorizing that maybe somebody robbed a bank and hid it there, or just that somebody pulled their money out of the bank during the Great Depression and, buried it underground, which people used to do. You don't put it in your mattress. You put it in the ground. It's like a squirrel. He says he's not going to sell it or buy anything with it. He says, it's a great story, and if I start to tell somebody a story and they say, can I see it? And I say, well, I bought a hoagie with it, that seems silly. He also warns off people coming to his house to try to dig up more money, which is, very illegal. Next up, we have another story that I find personally very interesting, given that I am an expert painter. As you can see, I have flawless painting experiences. So I have a lot of expertise in this subject. Hidden Van Gogh's self-portrait found behind painting in Scotland. So I'm not gonna play this whole video because copyright, but this painting on the right is the painting that we've had for a long time. I don't know when Van Gogh lived. This painting on the right is the painting as it is, as the finished artwork is. But underneath this layer of paint, you get this, which is clearly a self-portrait of Van Gogh. That means that this self-portrait of Van Gogh was painted over to make this portrait of the lady in the hat. Reuters, I know it's pronounced Reuters, but I can't say Reuters. Reuters reports, July 14th, London. A self-portrait of Dutch post-impressionist, we all know who Van Gogh is. A self-portrait of Van Gogh has been uncovered under one of his paintings. The painting is called Head of a Peasant Woman, and they were examining it with X-ray examination tools. It said that the X-ray showed a bearded sitter in a brimmed hat, with a neckerchief loosely tied at the throat. He fixes the viewer with an intense stare, the right side of his face in shadow and his left ear clearly visible. The senior painting conservator Leslie Stevenson said, such a major discovery happens once, twice in a conservator's lifetime. To have an image as elusive as it presently is something very, very special. Now obviously, because of the way that paint works, we can't actually see the original portrait with anything but an X-ray, but apparently there's some magic way of actually doing that I don't know, because experts are looking at how to remove the glue and cardboard covering the self-portrait without damaging Head of a Peasant Woman. So they're trying to make it so that you can see, they're going to separate it, they're going to be able to show both portraits at once. The X-ray image will feature at the July 30th through November 13th exhibition called A Taste for Impressionism at the Royal Scottish Academy in Edinburgh. So we got buried money, secret paintings. What will our next story hold on Week in Weird? It's back to my to my soy boy stuff. Hasbro will put your face on a Power Ranger or Black Panther or Spider-Man for $60. That'll go over well. So basically, Hasbro, who makes the action figures for like Power Rangers and Marvel, they're partnering with a company that can make 3D prints of 3D scans. So if you scan your face, they're going to make a head mold for you, like as you can see in this little GIF right here, and then put you onto the body of one of their officially licensed toys. So here's quote-unquote you on the body of their Ghostbuster, or their Black Panther, or their, that's probably Wasp, or a Power Ranger. It does mention that this is limited to the United States. $60 is not too expensive for this, so that's actually pretty neat. And this service is not available yet. It should be in the very near future. And I can't wait for all the 4chan people to make a bunch of white Black Panthers. And finally, last story we're just going to touch on a little bit. The Pokemon Company has so far released multiple life-size plushes of different Pokemon. There's Mareep, the $400 giant sheep ball fluff, and then there was Lucario, which is like 4 feet tall and kind of creepy. And their newest in this line of life-size Pokemon is Spheal, and here you can see him. He's enormous. 16 pounds, over 3 feet tall, for $357. This is the big boy version of Squishmallows. I think there may have also been a life-size Snorlax, which is terrifying. Or maybe just a giant Snorlax. With that said, it's only available in Japan right now. Thank you for watching this episode of Week in Weird. The names you see scrolling by right now are, of course, my patrons. At the end of each episode, I like to talk about the movie I saw this week. And the movie I saw this week was Where the Crawdads Sing. It was fine. It's based on a book, and I really liked the book, but the movie was just kind of like the book on fast forward, and so it skipped over a lot of what I would call the important emotional scenes and the neat little details that make you really appreciate the world and the characters and the emotional beats, and it just kind of hit the story points, and so it was kind of disappointing. I don't know what somebody who didn't read the book would think. Maybe they would think that it was devoid of any meaning or emotion, so that was kind of lame. But I do want to plug Paws of Fury, which also came out. I haven't seen it, but I did talk about it in one of my older videos. Paws of Fury is that kids movie that is a remake of Blazing Saddles. I think I talked about that in one of my very early Week in Weirds. Mel Brooks is actually in the movie. I don't want to sit through it, but if you want to bring your kids to a movie and laugh at inside jokes because you've seen Blazing Saddles and so you know what they're satirizing, then maybe that would be more exciting than the Minions. Anyway, thank you for watching, I hope you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode of Week in Weird, when hopefully I'm feeling a lot better and don't have to pause every couple of minutes to drink water because my throat is dying.